good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you. Eric here, Driveline World's OK steering wheel holder, and you're just going to have to deal with a lot of ambient noise in this video. I apologize. I got reefer, I got trucks idling on both sides of me, APUs going. There's no getting around it. There's going to be some hum in this video, and it is what it is. It's the weekend, and it is 9:30 in the morning. I just parked, and every truck stop for the past 25 miles has been jam-packed. So I'm on 81. I don't understand what's going on. This is bizarre. To be 9:30 in the morning on a weekend, like I got one of the last spots, and this is I'm in a pretty big truck stop. I would say probably 20, 30, 40, 50, probably 300, maybe 250, 300 spots, jammed. Fuel islands are empty, but the whole truck stop's jammed. I don't know, and I went past the Loves probably 15 miles ago, and there were trucks bonus parking in this Loves. I mean, it was just so full that people were bonus parking, and that was like 8:45, 9 o'clock. So I don't know, man. I guess just nobody's running freight this weekend. Does everybody not have loads? I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, I do digress. I know y'all are here to see what I have to say about Prime selling. Now, some of these videos out there, when I mentioned this in the last video, hadn't even seen Wildbeard's video. His video actually was kind of funny to me. He's very good at what he does. I talked to Wildbeard some time ago. I was gonna have him on a podcast. I don't remember when it was. Ended up not working out. He's a pretty cool dude, but he's very good at what he does, and I see why so many watch that video, because kind of sucked us in, right? So there's that kind of video, but there's also, I've seen this rumor of Prime being up for sale, or talking to various carriers or companies about acquiring Prime for the past probably 2 or 3 months. And as I mentioned in the last video, I had over the last week asked some people point blank that would know, and was told that would have really good, like, have a finger on the pulse on this, okay? I'll just put it that way. Who've said unequivocally there's zero evidence whatsoever that Prime is positioned to be acquired by another company. So I think this chatter is, some of it out there is just kind of funny, drawing you in to watch videos. Some of it are people who, I've seen videos where people seriously believe that Prime is about to be acquired, or is about to sell, or be bought by somebody else, however you want to put it. And it's usually by people who don't quite understand the type of company Prime is, the way it's set up. Part of the reason these kind of rumors float around so much is because Prime is one of the few, if not the only, mega carrier that is not a publicly traded company. So rarely do you ever see statistics about Prime freight, Prime capacity, Prime volumes, etc., profits, losses, whatever, in freight media, because it's not publicly available information. Now, I view that as a strength. I think that's a very good thing, because what that does is that lets Prime make good decisions, not shitty decisions that can provide short-term gain or confidence, or blow smoke up shareholders' asses, like some of these companies do. They make really bad short-term or good short-term decisions, but bad long-term decisions. Prime Prime doesn't have all these public shareholder meetings and all this stuff where they have to create profits next week and the next month. Prime can make decisions that benefit it in the long term, maybe not necessarily so much in the short term. And Prime's been an industry leader in a lot of things like super singles and things like that. And I know there's a lot of people out there that just preach against super singles, even some Prime drivers. Oh, there's no way it's saving you that much in fuel. Yes, it does. There's no way it's saving you that much in tires. Yes, it does. In fact, I'll tell you this, there were tires on this truck and on my Peterbilt that just got replaced that were the first time those tires were replaced in 300,000 miles. Well, in this truck, yeah, I'm at 303,000 miles on this truck. 300,000 miles. And I do believe they help us with fuel. I think they have great traction, etc., etc. Well, Prime went to supers before most carriers did. And then you have carriers that are not as old as Prime who've followed suit. It's the same with a lot of things that Prime does. A lot of things that they implement, a lot of things that they test. And a lot of those things don't pan out. Like if y'all remember the stupid, if you've been driving with Prime for more than 3.5 years, then you probably remember those stupid fins that folded out on the back of the trailers. They were god-awful. I cannot describe to you how ridiculous those things were. And maybe they did save. I never noticed any fuel savings with them. Maybe it did shave off 1% or 2% on your fuel cost. I didn't see any evidence of that. I'm not arguing that. But I tell you what they did do is they caused a lot of maintenance headache and a lot of claims headache and a lot of accident headache because people would back in with those things open and hit the truck behind them, or they'd back into docks with them and hit the dock with those things. So, and then they're just constantly having to work on them and fix them, and they were just huge pain in the ass. Well, and I'm not saying that Prime was the first to do that, but they were able to test that and see if that was something they wanted to do long term. It wasn't. So they're able to just try things and innovate in ways that can be beneficial long term that a lot of companies aren't able to do, because Prime doesn't have to please shareholders in the short term. They can do things long term. I think that's a very good thing. Prime's kind of this black box, right? Nobody really knows much of anything except for the people who own Prime, or the person that owns Prime. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of these rumors are able to fester and spread like wildfire, even when there's zero evidence of any of it. But in terms of the question of whether or not Prime was going to be sold, which seems to be spreading like wildfire across social media, that was pretty much put to rest publicly in the last Friday safety meeting. At the very end of the safety meeting, Steve Wuttke and the president of Prime basically, just kind of, they're almost like laughing, joking about it, because clearly it's bubbled up to be that much of a conversation that they felt, you know what, we'll take a minute or two and just kind of jokingly address this but put it to rest. And they did. They were basically like, look, nothing's changing. Prime ain't for sale. There's no one buying Prime. There's no acquisition happening with Prime. And we're continuing on the path that we're on, and we feel well positioned, and we feel like our competitors are not doing as well as we are. That's what they say. So that should put that to rest. Again, there was no evidence to suggest anything otherwise before that, but now they've basically said, look, Prime's on the path it's on. It's not being sold. Nobody's buying us. But like I said in the last video, I think there's some underestimation of how valuable Prime is. Like, Prime is the largest refrigerated fleet in the country. Not the largest fleet, but the largest refrigerated fleet. couldn't find the video because I referenced it last week because I saw a YouTube video where it's like, you know, all it takes is a company to come up with a couple $100 million and they've got a mega carrier. Bullshit. You think you can buy Prime with a couple $100 million? Are you out of your mind? Just think of the number of the equipment of look up and see how many tractors and trailers operate under Prime's authority. The terminals, Springfield, Manuka, Salt Lake City, Pittston, and all of our drop yards. Which a lot of them we just they're not drop yards that we own. We just lease the space out of them. But we have other drop yards that we own. Even just that, not including the contracts and the freight and the other value. I mean, it's astronomically well, like, you don't need to be thinking million, you need to be thinking billion. So the idea that a smaller carrier has got the pockets deep enough to buy Prime is absurd in and of itself. But again, there was never any evidence to suggest that. All it takes is, and you know, I'm not knocking on Wildbeard. I think his video was pretty crafty, and I admire what he posted. But it was other videos that started this, and those were based on just no evidence whatsoever. So it's just always funny, you know. And another thing is, it's not new that there's so much toxicity out there about Prime. When you're one of the biggest players in the industry, there's going to be a lot of people that want to knock you down. When you have so much contract freight that it affects the profitability or the operations of a lot of very small carriers or single truck operators, there's going to be some venom come your way. And that's not new. That's been the case since I've been at Prime, so 5+ years. It's always been that way. I had to sift through a lot of videos when I was trying to figure out where I wanted to drive. And, you know, it was half and half. Most of the videos that were trashing Prime were not Prime drivers. So I kind of just listened to the Prime drivers and tried to get their perspective. Now, because freight right now is where it is, there's not a lot of optimism and positivity within the Prime social media community right now. And that certainly plays a role in how it feels in terms of there being a lot more negativity in social media, because that's just a reflection of the market we're in, you know, of the world we're in and all that good stuff. But anyway, no, Prime is not being sold. It's not going to be folded into another carrier. And according to the owners of Prime, or the people in charge, Prime's doing just fine and is doing better than most of its competition. Whether or not you believe that, that's a whole different story, but that's what is being stated in a very public proclamation. So there you have it. Not just my opinion, that is from the horse's mouth, so to speak. All right, I'm gonna get a shower and get some sleep. I didn't have to drive 500 miles last night. I only needed to drive half that, but I'm way ahead, and I just like, screw it. When I stopped for fuel this morning, there wasn't anywhere to park. It was like 4:30 this morning, so I was driving an extra couple 100 miles. Why not just get well ahead, park longer today? I'm on a great load, 1,000-mile load that pays $3,000. So I'm not complaining about really it has an extra day on it, but I'm not complaining about that because the pay is there, revenue's there. So it is what it is. All right, guys, be safe, make good decisions, always drive to thrive. Talk to you all soon.